Hello, my name is Harold Anthony, and I am a data analytics student at Southern New Hampshire University. This presentation is about how globalization has affected social change around the globe, and how it's affected communities around the globe which would consider themselves minorities. To introduce you to globalization, we will talk about how globalization has affected social practices, how social media has affected us to communicate with others from further distances, how globalization has affected the practice of child marriage, how globalization has affected the math or research community, and how one national identity has changed with globalization. And way globalization has affected social practices is that, according to Felix Martin Gutierrez, world and business leaders have been speaking English to each other during meetings since the 1950s. This has caused government business to conduct their official businesses in English. A way that globalization is impacting social change is that the United Nations efforts to end child marriages. With the influence of an African Union campaign, Maui has raised their legal marriage age from 15 to 18. The United Nations' primary goal in this regard is to end this practice around the globe by 2030. The way that globalization has helped those like myself in the research and math communities is that it allows us to look at issues in a non biased way. It allows us to increase the number of individuals and groups that we can collaborate with, and it allows us to share raw data that may have been collected in a different locale. The way that social media has impacted globalization is that it allows us to collect, manipulate, and store data, spread that information quickly, and create content that we can spread across the globe. However, it has given us, those of us who use this, the possibility to lose our national identity because we have less face-to-face communication with those who are closest to us, and it has the ability to change the way we view one another. The second part of this presentation is about how globalization can affect our opportunities that are provided to minorities and how we can use globalization to improve their treatment. We will talk about the origins of discrimination, the target audience for this issue, and how this issue is affecting their target audience. Discrimination of minorities can date back to the beginning of human society. In this section, we will be looking at the institution of discrimination and looking at the unemployment rates for minorities as of August 2016. The target audience is those in the African American and Hispanic communities, and those who are government and business leaders who will be able to implement change, and the main focus of what we are looking to change in the unemployment rates of these communities. The graph here depicts the unemployment rate of the United States overall and the African American community from 2006 to 2016. As we can see here, the unemployment rate for the African American community was at 8.8% as of 2016, while the overall population unemployment rate was at 4.9%. I can predict without any changes that the African American unemployment rate would not go below 8%, while the overall population unemployment rate will be around 4.3%. The issues that are affecting these communities is their education level and the crime rate. According to studies, only 69% of African Americans graduate high school compared to 80% of the general population, while only 22% of African Americans have college degrees. Part of the problem here is that the access of those in low income communities have the college educations. Studies show that those with increased funding in these schools have produced 20% more college students. With less education and job opportunities, some may turn to a life of crime. Studies have shown that African Americans are 40% of the prison population, while only being 13% of the general population. Studies have also shown that only 40% of employers will hire someone with a criminal record. This has caused those who have gone to prison to end up going back to prison at a rate of 76.6%, while Norway has a 20% return rate, where their criminal justice system is more of a rehabilitation than a punishment. Here we will make a plan which will make recommendations, strategies, and discuss the benefits of them to improve the situation. My recommendations to increase the education budget, to have prison reform, and to change the laws which make it illegal for organizations to ask about someone's criminal record. The strategies is to target schools with low graduation rates, to increase funding, to end for-profit prisons, to hire mental health specialists in prisons, and to provide job training for prisoners. The benefits would be that there will be more educated citizens and there will be more qualified people for jobs, which will cause the unemployment rate to be lower. A lower unemployment rate will mean that people will have more skills, they will be less likely to commit crimes, and more money will go to the economy. In conclusion, this presentation has provided an introduction to globalization, discussed the opportunities provided for minorities or the lack thereof, the unemployment rate of African Americans versus the rest of the general population, their education and crime rate, and recommendations to fix these issues. Reference page where we gathered our data from. Please provide any questions in the comment section below. And thank you for watching this presentation.